Well, hey, struggle streamers. Welcome back to another episode. It is a glorious fall day in October. It's almost the end of October. So the selection I'm going to discuss today, it actually goes out of free status at the end of October. So if you are interested in seeing this picture, you have to catch it like now. So what I watched this week was Yellow Dragon's Village. It is available on, what is it? It's the Roku channel Midnight Pulp. So it's all like thrillers and horror and stuff like that. And it is a subscription model. However, they have a free selection each month, and this month it is Yellow Dragon's Village. This is a film from 2021. It is out of Japan. The director is Yugo Sakamoto, and I love so many things about this. It's independent. It is short. It's only 60 minutes ish. It's about an hour long. It was done on a low budget. The the fight scenes are outstanding. Like, it's so clever, and it changes gears as it goes through. So let me read you a few of my notes here. So what it's really good at, like I said, the fight choreography is fantastic. The locations are beautiful. There's a big river and there's a forest, and it's just lovely. This little quiet Japanese village, and the pacing is outstanding. There's no dull moments. It's kind of like, in a short story, you have to get to the point. You cannot delay anything. You have to get to the point. And so this film does an outstanding job of leaving no excessive gaps or just extended pointless anything. It's very, very useful. It touches on youthful naivete. I'll get into the storyline in a little bit. It's a dark comedy. It's violent. It's a revenge film. It talks. Well, it doesn't talk about them. It just features like a cult. It talks about cannibalism. It's so dark and weird, and it doesn't seem like it's going to be a comedy at first, but then it turns into one. So it's just the coolest. So the story, no spoilers here. There's a group of young adults, either teenagers or college students, something like that, and they want to go camping. So they all pile into their car, and they're drinking and they're having a good time, and they're just young people being young, about to have a really fun trip together. So the journey is going just fine, and of course they have to run into a problem, and they get a flat tire. So they get this flat tire in the middle of nowhere, and they need help, but they also don't have any cell phone service. So they decide to get out of the car as a group, and as they're walking into this village called Yellow Dragon's Village, they encounter some interesting people. They seem pretty harmless. The first guy, he just kind of is catatonic, doesn't respond to them, and so they just pass him by. There's another weirdo just out on a cliff or in the woods or something, staring at them, observing them. And then they are approached by this man on a horse, and the horse is being led by another man. So immediately you're thinking, why is this guy on a horse and not just riding his own horse? Why is he being led by another person? And we'll never know, because it's weird. It's just a weird film. So the students tell, or I don't know if they're students, the young people tell this man on the horse that they're stranded, and they want to call for help. Could they help? Could he help? And he said, "Oh, of course, come to my house. We'll have tea or a meal or whatever it was." And so that's where we end up. We go from like this happy-go-lucky, freewheeling young group to this kind of weird little village. So they part ways. The man on the horse goes one way to go put his horse away, and the students or the kids go up to his house, and they open the front door, and there's these three other young women bowing to them. And then when they come up from their bow, they have these like crazy faces, absolutely like super nutty. So they welcome everybody into the house, and it's unusual because they think they're just going in for a spot of tea and to call for help for their car, but the entire dining table is set for a full meal. So they think, well, this is kind of weird, but hot meal is free and let's do it. As they're kind of waiting for the horseman to come back, and forgive me, I don't remember the character names. As they're waiting for the horseman to come back, they start looking through other rooms and they notice that there are futons laid out for all of them, as if someone knew they were coming and prepared a meal for them and prepared a bed for them. And so, I mean, even, in their youthful delusion, I guess, they still think, well, I'm sure it's just a coincidence, and, they do whatever. So they sit down to the meal with the horseman. And as they're eating the food, they are very aware of how delicious it is. It's so good, and it's like it's like a meat flavor that they haven't tried before. And so they're complimenting the horseman, and then in the corner, the three ladies who greeted them at the door are sitting there. They're just eating rice and beans. And so somebody questions him about this, and he goes into this speech about them being vegan. He goes into a long vegan speech and how these women only eat rice and beans. So kind of weird. They were still at this point planning to get out of town and go do their camping trip, but the man offers them to stay, and they're like, okay, it's a warm place to stay. We're gonna miss our camping spot. I'm kind of sad about that, but they blew it off. So come morning time, they sleep through the night. Come morning time, the one of the boys gets up and he looks out the window and he sees this procession of weirdos, like these cult people, walking down the driveway. And some of the people we recognize from the previous scenes, and then some of them are new characters that we haven't encountered yet. But they're all dressed very strangely. Some of them have masks on. Some of them are wearing like head to toe plastic rain gear, sort of like transparent, so you can see their clothes underneath. But it's kind of weird. So they're kind of, this freaks the boy out. So he wants to get his friends out of there like immediately because there's weirdos in the driveway wearing masks. And they're stopped in their tracks, of course, and they're forced to eat breakfast. And that's where the chaos ensues. This is where I'm going to kind of stop because I don't want to reveal any spoilers. But craziness happens from this point forward. We go through a number of fight scenes, like different people fighting other people, and there's swords, there's guns, there's knives, there's hand-to-hand battle. It is crazy. My particular favorite was this girls fight scene on a bridge because it was gorgeous. It was over this giant river and there's just forest on every side, and they're dressed impeccably and they fight like beasts. Like the fight choreography was so good, and it was so brutal, and it was just like awesome. So there's also a transition at this point. So we've gone through two transitions at this point. We've started out as kind of this sisterhood of the traveling pants kind of vibe, like everything's happy, everything's Hallmark movie, like kind of borderline rom-com. And then we start getting these little hints that maybe things aren't as they seem, and it turns kind of like dark thriller, psychological thriller kind of thing. And now we've shifted gears yet again, as these fights start to break out, and it turns into a dark comedy. And so, one gag will come up and you're thinking, oh my gosh, that was jarring. Am I allowed to laugh at that? Is that supposed to be funny? And then another thing happens that's just outrageous. And you start to realize, oh yeah, it is okay for me to laugh at this, because the vibe has changed. And it sounds schizophrenic, but it totally works, and it's seamless, and it's so well done. So we just go through a series of fights, like good versus evil, and we really want our youthful young people to prevail over these weird cannibal cult people. Everything about this movie was so good, and it was so quick. And if you want to see it, I believe it'll still continue to be streaming. It just won't be free. So everything about it, like some of the acting, because it was low budget, Some of the acting was a little weird and not the most professional, but totally forgivable. Ooh, it is windy out here. So the one, really, I only have one critique of this film, and it was the very, very last moment, the very last sentence in the whole film. I'm not going to say what it is. You're just going to have to watch it to find out. But it broke the wall, broke the fourth wall, took me completely out of, willing suspension of disbelief. I suddenly felt like it didn't work out for me. Didn't make sense. It was very jarring. It definitely kind of took the magic out of the whole thing. So, I mean, not enough for me to dislike this film. I loved this film. It was fantastic. I would definitely watch it again. But yeah, that's my only critique. So definitely go watch this. Like I said, it is on. Holy moly, this wind is blowing me all around. What was it? Roku Midnight Pulp. Look that up on your streaming device, and it's the free stream of the month. Yellow Dragon's Village. Oh, that's one other critique I have. You don't ever find out who Yellow Dragon is. You would think that might be an important feature, but I guess not. So anyway, that was it. Thank you for struggle streaming with me today. Let's do this again soon, all right? Okay, peace.